Second quarter just underway here in Flint. The Hoop for Water fundraiser presented by Snoop Dogg and Morris Peterson. And when you think of Flint, Michigan, I think among other things, certainly in the Big Ten, you think of the Flintstones and the great national championship team at Michigan State in 2000. We are so pleased to have the coach of that team and still the coach of Michigan State, Hall of Famer Tom Izzo, with us. And Coach, so nice of you to lend your time here, but give us a sense of what Flint has meant to you through the years at Michigan State and again, in East Lansing in general, being just an hour from here.
Well, contrary to this game, which Stephen knows isn't the flying Illini against the Spartans back in the day, but Snoop Dogg had more points than you had in the first quarter.
That's right.
He did a heck of a job. But, Flint has meant the world. I heard Stephen say earlier, you think of the players out here. When I was still in college, it was just like a pipeline. When I got to Michigan State as a GA, you'd come up here and you didn't watch players, you watched pros,
Yep.
Football, basketball. There were just a number of them and so many good ones. And for me personally, Morris and Antonio Smith were the first two guys I signed, so I tell my wife all the time that the house I got is because of those guys. So I couldn't have lived without them or made it without them.
What's it been like for you as this crisis has gotten national attention here over the last few months? What's it been like for you to see? Because obviously you've spent a ton of time here. It's incredible to see the connections that you still have as I watch you work your way through the crowd and talk to the mayor and talk to parents of players that you recruited here. What's it been like to see what's happened here?
Well, it's been tough. I brought my team up here twice this year, once after a tough loss, and visit the Boys and Girls Club and just – one thing Snoop Dogg said to me out in the hallway was, hey, today is about trying to have some fun and put some smiles on people's faces, because it hasn't been that way, guys. It's been tough. But what I like is everybody's got to rally together now. Just like a good team who had a losing streak, you got to rally together and quit figuring out who cares who the blame goes to a certain extent. It's time to start moving forward, and I think that's what this is all about. And I'm just proud to be, in this state. Flint, especially when the automotive industry was at its peak, was as good as any city in the country, and it's taken its lumps, and now it's time to rebuild.
Coach, when you have the impact that you have on a Mateen Cleese and Morris Peterson, and you see them as young men, and now you see Morris Peterson growing up as a grown man, having the idea to come and put this together, how does that make you feel?
Proud, Stephen, to be honest with you, really proud. I think you always try to teach guys, in this entitlement era we're in, that giving back is sometimes better than getting. I was so proud when I walked in here today and saw Morris and just everything he's trying to do and give back to his community. We always talked about don't forget where you came from. I'm sure you haven't, and I know he hasn't. So to see some of my guys doing the things they're doing and to see Morris taking some initiative now that his playing days are over really makes me proud.
And it's got to be tough in today's era with the transfers, with guys leaving early. It's got to be more difficult for you to develop those deep relationships. How do you go about doing that?
I think that's the hardest. You just hit the hardest thing about college right now is I think we're all going through it. I don't care what university you're at. Everybody's going through that. And as you know better than anybody because you were part of a great program, chemistry and camaraderie – you can win games one way, but to win championships, you better have that chemistry and camaraderie. And so we all got to figure out, John Calipari's done a pretty good job figuring out how you can do it in a quicker period of time, but that's not the norm. That's the exception. And the rest of us got to figure out, we use our former players that come back a lot, to tell our guys, this is the way we do it here. Sometimes we can't use our seniors anymore because they're gone, But keeping everybody together, Magic, Steve Smith, those guys have done a great job. Mateen and of course Morris and Draymond Green. We've been very fortunate that we've had a lot of guys that still come back a lot. Hopefully that'll help a little bit.
Well, that's because of you, Coach. You got a lot to do with that.
Well,
right? I know you're not going to take credit for it, but I'm sitting here saying it.
I'm not, but Judd Heathcote and I together, we've got over 40 years in, so we covered some pretty good groups, and then when Magic living in our city, his parents still there, that helps too, but I think continuity is the key for you guys. Yep. It's the key for basketball teams. It's the key for cities, and the continuity that we've had at Michigan State now has been 41 years with the same two guys. I don't know if that's good news or bad news, but it's been fairly successful.
I think it's fair to say it's been pretty good news for Michigan State. You were talking about Draymond Green, who, of course, is from Saginaw, so not far from
That's
here.
A suburb, they call that up here.
Right, suburban Flint, right, a little bit north of here. But give us a sense of what it's meant to you to see him be a part of such an incredible team at Golden State.
Well, I was out there Wednesday night to watch him play, and then I flew back Thursday night, and, I'm proud of him, too. I think he's learning how to play the right way. He's got himself in great shape. He plays hard. He's tough. It's been fun to watch. Although I'll ask Stephen this, since he's the basketball analyst here. Can anybody beat Cleveland the way they're playing right now?
Coach, I'm so glad you said that.
I'm pulling for. Of course, I'm pulling for everybody because I got players on different ones. We got the owner of Cleveland's and Michigan State going. Right. We got Draymond, but I think that series out there is going to be a tough one. It's probably going to go 6 or 7. But, boy, right now, Cleveland is playing as good as anybody I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I would agree. And they're healthy this year because, remember last year, Kyrie Irving goes down game 1 of the finals. Kevin Love doesn't play, and they're rested.
Yeah, and LeBron still almost gets them to but they go down in game 6.
Yes, that's right.
He almost did it single-handedly, and now you look at the way he's playing. But I will say this, it's hard to dethrone a champion, too, because a champion has that heart. And I think Golden State, now that Curry's back, getting healthier, and they've got, it's going to be an interesting series yet. I just don't know who's going to come out of the West. I think we can feel safe to say Cleveland's going to come out of the East.
No doubt. Coach, I want to ask you something. We're talking about the NBA, and you've had several NBA franchises come at you. Look back on the decisions that you made to stay, and what are the positives about staying, but what would have been the positives for you at the next level?
Well, I think, if you were honest about it, everybody's dream is to play or coach or work, at the highest level you can do in your profession. And I don't feel bad about saying that, but for me, I don't know. I love the college part where, the football Saturdays, the fall they're all around campus, the kids and watching them grow, I went to 6 graduations this year because we had 4 players and 2 managers, and I try never to miss a graduation, and those things are really cool. What's getting harder, and you said it at the beginning, is now with all the trades and transfers and, what are we going to have? And you don't get those same relationships. And I hope it doesn't come down to that, because I think that'll hurt, not the college game, just the game of basketball.
I would agree.
One guy you had a great relationship with, of course, and you were able to build it over time, was Denzel Valentine. And I know, and you and I have spoken about this during the course of this year and subsequent to the NCAA tourney, I know how difficult it was for you to go out in the manner that you did. How have you recovered? How has he recovered, kind of your senior class that I know meant so much to you and that you wanted to see reach heights that you believe they could reach?
Well, again, Stephen can appreciate this, playing in a Final Four. And, what happens is when you play in one the year before and you got a lot of guys back, and Denzel took that from that day on and said, we're going to get back there. And that's the work they did all summer. And, when they asked him in the press conference after, they said, how do you feel? He said, I feel like it's my fault. And I'll have to live with this the rest of my life. And when the players leave and the coach stays there, they said to me, do you think he's being too hard on himself? And I said, no, because to a player, that's what it means.
That's exactly right.
And I said, the only thing that's bad is if he used that as a depressive motivation instead of a real motivation. Let me tell you, Denzel Valentine, he'll think about that every day of his life, and it'll help motivate him to be successful. And I'm sad to see that team go, because it was a team that you followed a lot of teams, both of you. There weren't many teams, none that I've had, that could do it on the offensive end and the defensive end. I mean, we were unique. We led the nation in rebounding. We led in assists. We were one of the better three-point shooting teams. On that night, we shot pretty well.
Yep.
But give Middle Tennessee State credit.
They
shot better.
Yeah,
they were phenomenal. Coach, we really appreciate you spending the time here with us. We're winding down towards halftime. Just a final thought, if you have it, about the importance of this event and the importance of supporting what's happening here today, and more broadly when this event ends today supporting the city of Flint to get it back on its feet?
Well, I think what's happened here in the city of Flint could be happening in a lot of different places too. We don't know that.
That's true.
But right now, I think everybody, the way they've rallied, and it's getting better, but it's almost like when somebody dies, you get that comfort for a while and then it disappears. We got to make sure it doesn't disappear until we get everything back on track. This city is important to our state, but I think it's important to the country and what they're standing for right now. And to get people like Snoop Dogg here, and they've had some big-time celebrities here, to get you guys to come, kudos to the Big Ten Network and what you guys have done. I mean, I think it speaks volumes that everybody understands this is not a Flint problem. This is our society's problem, and we all should join in, help the best we can help in whatever way we can help. And I'm proud of both of you and the Big Ten Network for being here. And I'm thinking, though, if Snoop makes another basket or two, I'm going to recruit him. He keeps pointing over at me. I don't like his athleticism, but I have liked his scoring ability. Got to work on the body a little bit, right. Stephen A. We got to get him a little Big Ten stronger, but tell you what, he's got the energy.
He does. He does that.
Tom Izzo, head coach of Michigan State. Coach, again, kudos to you for lending your time and your support to what is a fantastic effort. And we always are so appreciative of the time that you and Michigan State give us at BTN. Thanks so much.
You guys have been great. You've done a heck of a job. I appreciate both of you. Thank you, and let's hope this helps, and I'll look forward to seeing you. But let's take the summer off. I saw these 3 officials. They started breaking out in hives. You know what I mean? It's the off season. We should be able to have some fun. What am I looking at officials for?
They've been very loose with the whistles. This is a game that's officiated in a style that would befit Michigan State.
Yeah.
You would like this.
I would.
They're letting a lot of stuff go. All right, Tom Izzo, head coach of the Spartans. Thanks, Coach.